everyone. This is Faith at Faith and Books. How are you doing? It is about 7:30 on Sunday morning, January 26th, and I thought I would at least start a video. I don't know if I'll finish it in one sitting, to do my January wrap-up and my February TBR. So this month, it's been a very cold month. We've had snow on the ground all month. At one time, it went down to 5 degrees. So Fahrenheit. So it's been very cold, colder than it usually is in this area. So I kind of like January though, because I like the quiet after all the holidays are over. And I like that it's the beginning of a new year. I feel kind of motivated by that. So I've kind of been enjoying it, even though it's also presented its problems. We have so much going on that I don't get into on these videos, but there's a lot going on right now. But what I've been doing is trying to read about gardening. And so I've been, I pulled out all my gardening books. I'm just going to show you the two that I've really been delving into. And it's this one, which I love this one. It's the Backyard Homestead Seasonal Planner, What to Do and When to Do It. It's by Anne Larkin Hansen. This is such a helpful book. It's divided up not by month, but by, early winter, midwinter, late winter. So you can use it anywhere, any zone you live in. It starts off in midwinter. And what I like about it is everything's broken down. It's this nice tickler system. And it's overkill. It's for somebody who has a lot more property and is doing a lot more than I am. But it's got a garden section, what you do in the garden. I don't have a field. A field is like when you have crops out. If I had more acres and I had a big garden where I was growing a lot of corn or something like that. And then there's pasture. I don't have any animals on pasture. But I do have fruit trees, so I do look at the orchard one. I don't have a bee yard. I wish I did. I don't have a barn. But I do have a chicken coop. So I follow that. And then the equipment shed is basically just what equipment I need. I don't need a lot, but I don't have adequate equipment that will help me as an older gardener. And then there's woodlot, which I don't have. And then wildlife habitat. I do have a wild area of my lawn, my yard. That's helpful for. And then it has like all these neat tips as you go along to give you more, like deciphering seed labels. Just all sorts of interesting seasonal chores right there. Nice illustrations. Here's one about starting seeds and spreading manure. So it's just really, really helpful book. I think it's very, very well organized and very thorough, and it really, really helps me. And then the other one, which is really unusual because I'm not a chemist, and this is like a chemistry book, but it's the Regenerative Grower's Guide to Garden Amendments. And it says, usually locally sourced materials to make mineral and biological extracts and ferments. And I just love the idea of taking stuff from your house, from your kitchen, and making amendments, making things, fertilizers for your garden. And it's all very, homemade, just, canning jars and mixing stuff up and using buckets. And it's all chemistry too. It's kind of amazing. So I'm delving in and out of that because I really like the idea of being more systematic about fertilizing. I'm not a systematic gardener, and I think that it's self-defeating for me, and that's why I felt so discouraged last year, and I just neglected everything. This year I'm trying to do better. So with that in mind, in addition to trying to record everything in my planner here, my brand new beautiful planner, I'm going to record when I plant things and all that sorts of stuff. I'm also took this old notebook and I'm going to make notes, and so that I just develop systems and I figure out what works best for me. I just want to keep really good records this year. That's my goal. So that's one thing I've been doing in January, but let's talk about actual books that I'm reading. So, I don't have all the books with me, but this January, by the end of January, I've still got a week to go, about a week, I'll have read 4 books. The first book I read was The Flame Trees of Thicka by Elspeth Huxley. That was a wonderful book to start the year with. It transported me to Kenya right before World War I. And we just this week got the CDs. We couldn't find the BBC adaptation online anywhere, so we wound up buying the CDs, but it's not even opened yet. We just got it a couple days ago. We haven't had time. It starred Haley Mills, so I'm looking forward. The book was just wonderful, and I'm really looking forward to revisiting this series. It was wonderful. So let me put that away here. So, okay, that was the first book. The second book, I don't have it with me either, was Radical Prunings, and that was a fun reread. It was for Epistolary January, and it was a columnist, a garden columnist, and it was a little bit risque, very snarky. All the gardening information was spot on. It was just a very, very clever book where you learned about this funny woman's life through her gardening column. And the only trouble with the book was that it didn't end. It didn't have a conclusion. It just sort of ends abruptly. So that to me was a real weak point. I wish I had thought to bring it to, where did I put it? I don't think I have it anywhere here. Do I? No. Oh, sorry. I'm leading into the camera there. Anyway, so that was my second book I read. Then I finished this morning Paradise Lost by John Milton. What do I have to say about this? I want to do a video with my son that I kind of buddy read it with. And so hopefully that will come out in February. We'll see if we have the time to do it. I really enjoyed it. What do I want to say about it right now? Enjoyed isn't the word. The first 6 books of it, it's an epic poem told in 12 books. I had to look up Spark Notes to figure out where I was, to understand it. And then somehow after I got past the 6th book, it started to flow better and I didn't need that help anymore. So I got more into his language. I did not know really what to expect when I started it. So I will say Milton has a great imagination and great storytelling abilities and just, a great poet. I can see how brilliant he is. I would characterize him as either a heretical misogynist or a misogynistic heretic because he's really off on his theology. And oh my gosh, his characterization of Eve and Adam and Eve's relationship bugged me so much. But anyway, more about this to come, hopefully. That was a huge accomplishment. So I feel like January got off on a great start because I already feel like I accomplished something major this year. And then the last book I have not finished yet. Other people are finishing up. I'm in this read-along. Kelly at Books I'm Not Reading is hosting a read-along of Marilynne Robinson's Gilead series. And I had heard about this book. I'd never read it. I am this far, so I just have this much to go. So I will finish it before the end of January. I am loving it. It is so beautiful. It makes me choke up a lot when I'm reading it. It's very poignant. It's very sweet. It's very wise. It's it's just a really good book. It's an old man who's a father in his old age, and he knows he's going to die soon, and so he's writing this long letter to his 7-year-old son, or the son turned 7, and he is just looking back over his life, and he's telling the son about his own family, his grandfather and father, and his own beliefs, and he's trying to give him wisdom because he doesn't have any money to leave him because they're poor, but he thinks, well, I'll just leave you, what I've learned from life and leave you a history of your family. And it's very wandering, but beautifully written. And the character of John Ames, the pastor, he's a Congregationalist pastor. it's just lovely. He's got a lovely soul. And there's no strong plot, but there is a lot of unfolding of the story, and there is somewhat of a plot. Um, anyway, I think I'm going to find out a big secret at the very end here. So I will hopefully review this later, probably in February at some time. But I'm very much enjoying it. Okay, and then for this coming week, so I still have almost a week left in January, the books I want to read, I don't have them all here. I really didn't prepare myself. Okay, I can do these. Yeah. Okay, so I'm going to continue reading Gilead. I'm going to try and finish that up this week. I'm also starting today a buddy read with Katie at Books and Things of La Vendee, which I've talked about before. And I'm looking for, I actually started it. I just read a couple of pages this morning. I read the introduction, everything, because I wanted to, it's a lot of long French names. And so I want to sort of get really familiar with all the different characters and the context of the book. But yeah, I'm looking forward to this. So I'm going to be reading this in February and starting this week in January. And I'm going to finish up Gilead. I've also picked up The Great Bridge again. I stopped reading this back in November, and I thought when I picked it up, oh my gosh, I'm not going to remember anything. I'm going to be lost, but I wasn't. I picked it right up. So I'm on page 330, and I'm only about halfway through. So I have to say I'm kind of glossing over the stuff where he's focusing more on the engineering of building the Brooklyn Bridge. I'm reading more closely when it gets to the social history, the political history. But I am enjoying it. I love David McCullough's writing style. I really do. And this is going to be my New York book for my Read the States challenge. So I'm just going to keep plucking away at it. I have time. I'm not going to rejoin the David McCullough read along, I think, until June when they're reading his book on Truman, which I've never read. So I have time, and I'm just going to keep dipping into this until I'm done. And then another book that I kind of want to read if I can. It's very short, though. This was inspired by Linda at Elder Talk. She talked about this book, and so I bought it at Thrift Books. It's very, very short. I think you can read it in one sitting. And this would be my last epistolary novel for Epistolary January. Gilead is an epistolary book too, so turns out I read 3 books that were epistolary, that would fit the Epistolary January criteria. I tried reading the letters of Abelard and Eloise, which I talked about before, and I just didn't like them. I didn't want to know about their personal lives and their love life because I just didn't like them as people. I thought they were strange, and I thought they were extremely self-absorbed. I did not care for them as people, and so I gave up on that one. The other book that I am going to be starting in February, of course, is The Question of Canon. Finally, I feel like I've been talking about it for months. I'm finally going to start reading it. And I am also reading on my Kindle The Heart of Midlothian by Sir Walter Scott, which I'm excited to start. That will fit in with Febregency in February. So that's a Kindle book. And it's really interesting because Sir Walter Scott actually translated the memoirs of a woman whose both her husbands were killed in the Vendee uprising. And Sir Walter Scott translated that memoir, and that's what Anthony Trollope based this book on. So it's kind of a neat connection there that I didn't expect. So I think that's it for February. Let's see, The Heart of Midlothian, La Vendee. Oh, I forgot Precious Bane. Do I have Precious Bane down here to show? I don't. Anyway, I'm also doing a buddy read of Precious Bane by Mary Webb starting February 14th. I got a lot of books to read in February, and I have to strategize how I'm going to get them all read. But I think I can do it because some of them aren't going to take all month, so I can switch them out. And Home, for the next book in the Gilead series, I think I'm not going to start that till the very end of February, and that will probably spill over into March, but that's okay because they're not reading anything in March for that read along. And so I'm giving myself that, that leeway because I just have so many other things planned for February. I can't believe I have talked 15 minutes. I really don't feel like I talk, like I must be such a slow talker because I think that what I'm going to say will only take 5 minutes and somehow it doesn't. Anyway, so I don't know how coherent this is. Yeah, I'm sorry. Anyway, so this is my wrap up, my February TBR, and I'm just going to close by saying I hope you're doing well and happy reading. Bye.